So our next presenter is Samah El-Khateeb, and so he or she, associate professor in the Department of Urban Design and Urban Planning at Ain Shams University in Cairo, Egypt. Oh, she has been the principal investigator of various research projects on smart and future cities, as well as urban AI, with a specific focus on African cities. So it will be very interesting to hear your perspective. So Professor El-Khateeb, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. You may go ahead.
Thank you for inviting me for today's workshop, and thank you for your welcoming words. I will share my screen now. So it's clear now, the screen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I will talk today about towards inclusive urban AI in Egypt. I am Dr. Samah El-Khateeb. I am associate professor in Faculty of Engineering at Champion University. I am a principal investigator of Smart and Future City Laboratory in the same university, and also in a number of other research projects. The background of this presentation is built on a funded project from Facebook Research and HSRC, where we tried to build what we called Cairo Charter. Cairo Charter is an urban AI in Africa for social and environmental justice, and it was selected as one of the winning projects in this call. And actually what we aimed in this project is to develop a series of principles and protocols for urban AI in Cairo that focus on application of ecological and social justice. And the idea of this charter was built on the idea of Assent Charter. If anyone here is urban planner or architect, he will of course know of Le Corbusier. Le Corbusier he established the Assent Charter in 1933, and actually it takes the name from Athens, the location, and actually the idea of the charter is to put some framework for the shape of the future city. So what we did in this project, we had a certain process that we co-developed over the course of 2020 and 2021 through a series of workshops in partnership with planner, architect, anthropologist, developer, public servants, academics, technologists, and social innovators. The directive for urban AI herein were formulated from the Cairo context, but many of the definitions, values, strategies, and proposals can be applied toward the design of justice-driven urban AI for African city, southern megacities, and urban sites beyond. We conducted almost 5 workshops and 1 design sprint, and it ended by writing the Cairo Charter. Some photos from what we already did. So what the outcomes? Before we jump to the outcome, I will give you a brief about Egypt. As you know, Egypt is the 16th most populated country in the globe. We are almost 102 million inhabitants in 2022. To put it into perspective, the population growth of Egypt in the period between October 2020 and July 2021, population saw an average increase of 3,636 people per day. The majority of the population is concentrated near to the bank of the Nile River, which cover an area of 40,000 square kilometers, abounding approximately 961,450 square kilometers. So we are living almost in 6 or 7% from the whole land. Throughout the years, there was many initiatives from the government to move people from the bank of the Nile River to expand the population all over the country. And now we are having the 4th generation of the new cities, and we called it the new smart cities. The government are planning to have 20 new smart cities to improve the quality of life and actually also to redistribution of the population all over the region and to make the people move to them. One of them is the new administrative city, New Alamein City, and New Giza. Talking about urban AI in Cairo, urban AI in Cairo is only now beginning to be applied to applications that determine the operations of smartphones, urban devices, furniture, and vehicles, and softwares that perform economic planning and modeling. Since urban AI has the potential to transform urban system infrastructure and interactions from the individual to planetary ecosystem, it is critical we understand what urban AI might implement to different urban environments. In this work, we really try to figure out and map what the urban AI initiative in Egypt in regarding to the economy, mobility, social and health aspects. And you see some of them in the screen. So regarding the status of Egypt, it's really, we have many challenges that challenge implementing the urban AI with, as I say, the overpopulation, the unbalanced population, the poverty. We have many remote areas in the desert, literacy, marginalized people, elderly literacy, and economic challenges. And when we talk about urban AI, how we can make sure that we are implementing the environmental justice and socio-spatial justice. Just to give you a glance of one of these environmental challenges, Cairo issues are not only the aggregate amount of green areas, but also with their unequal dispersion among the districts. In 2022, 22 of 37 districts, almost 66% of the population had only 0.5 meter of green area per capita. This is very small amount per capita. Actually, some districts, the share of people is only 0.0 meter square of green spaces, and also some area reach 0.5. So this is to give you a glance about how the environmental justice in Egypt. So what we were thinking when we were writing the Cairo Charter is to write a framework for the development and deployment of urban AI in Cairo and Africa and beyond. As urban AI or urban artificial intelligence is reshaping cities through embedded hardware and software technologies, including natural languages, processing, facial recognition, machine sensing and processing, and the Internet of Things, these technologies can be found in everything from building to vehicles with sensor scaling from molecules to infrastructure. Urban AI add a new dimension to the capacities of smart cities, transforming the ways that information is captured, shared, transmitted, and how decisions are made. So what is the challenge in urban AI? That we say that urban AI, when implemented in a smart city, it makes city looks more smarter. So for us, when we refer to smart city empowered with urban AI as a smarter city, as a way to describe the upgrades that urban AI might bring. So in this respect, we are talking about if we are talking about the equality in urban AI, we are talking about the smart justice, how we can make sure that environmental justice, social justice, and urban justice are implemented. So for us, smart justice, we talked about that for us, we can divide it into socio-spatial smart justice and smart environmental justice. So the socio-spatial smart justice, smart cities, as you know, technologies hold the promise of the improvement of the well-being and quality of life of urban inhabitants. However, these promises are buried with the risk that these technologies could benefit only some groups more than others and privilege some places over others. This may generate new inequalities and reinforce existing ones, or may open inhabitants to unexpected effect of governance, violation, or privacy, or collective. Socio-spatial smart justice for us is justice in terms of distribution of social capacity across all members of the society to provide data and information for all to use. Therefore, people will have more capacity to engage with the data, to work with the data, to interpret the data, and have some level of comfort with it. For smart environmental justice, it's the fair distribution of the environmental benefits and burden within the smart society, and also accounts for other living things, water, animal, air, and also having rights. In a just, smart city, all parts of society should be getting the same environmental benefit and be protected from environmental risk. Environmental justice means both looking at ways to improve and maintain an equitable ecological environment of existing urban spaces for all groups of citizens, integrating technology into the existing physical environment where the everyday lives of ordinary inhabitants of cities occur, can provide measures and check that lead of environmental justice outcomes in both rural context and urban landscape. So this has brought us to the inclusive urban AI. So we are talking about that we need to have this socio-spatial smart justice and smart environmental justice within the framework in the Egyptian context. So the inclusive urban AI would be an AI, not only inclusive for human diversity of perspective in all of its form, gender, age, level of ability, language, but it would be also inclusive of animal, vegetable, and mineral beings. Inclusive AI is also about incorporating what is often excluded from the system. Many phenomena with deep impact on society, economics, and ecologies are not counted. This might include carbon output, long-term impact of infrastructure, and the planning decisions. Urban AI can make it easier to count and calculate what can and should be counted, so that mechanisms, policies, and technologies can be designed with justice for all in mind. So to reflect this and to have this inclusive urban AI in Egypt, we thought that we should have three pillars. We should have inclusive infrastructure, we should have inclusive public data, and we should have vernacular programming. So for the inclusive infrastructure, smart cities should be inclusive in the sense of multiple uses and also multiple contexts of deployment. These include those often left behind in digital deployment, the poor and elderly who are often left behind the smart city development. For the pillar of public data.
Prof. El-Khateeb, you have to wrap up in a bit. It's a very interesting presentation, but
yes,
you have to wrap up.
It's my last one.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, for the public data, one of the biggest challenges in Cairo is with data acquisition, primary spatial data on the one hand, and from the other hand is the authentication of the data. Regarding the third pillar with the vernacular programming, urban AI in Cairo should find a balance between the use of locally generated and Western generating software and the programming language. This is another step in the local capacity building that should happen in Egyptian society. Thank you, and I hope that I didn't talk so much. Thank you, and here is my email, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. You definitely speak to looking at the holistic factors when you look at urban AI, and it's really interesting how you put it as inclusive urban AI. So again, questions on the side, please do prepare them for Professor El-Khateeb.